behalf of the King Center and our CEO, Dr. Bernice A. King, it is an absolute pleasure to share in Black Excellence Day. The United Nations has declared the year 2015 to 2024 as the International Decade for People of African Descent. And so the question might be, why is a recognition decade for people of African descent necessary? Well, there was a philosopher by the name of G.W.F. Hegel who said that African people were unhistorical, that they were essentially outside of history. This is the thinking that has guided much of the formation of the way that history has been written and taught in the Western world. And so the purpose of this UN decade is to elevate the contribution and representation of African descended people all over the world. As one who is an educator with a passion for history, I am one who believes that all history must be remembered. We must tell the story of the human family in a way that is balanced. History is about the unique differences that have emerged among human beings throughout space and time. And so the underrepresentation of Black history in schools suggests that the full story is not being conveyed, and therefore a large chunk of the human family is being neglected. If we are to develop well-rounded young people, then the contributions of all people must be elevated. When young Black and Brown students see themselves inside of the story, it emboldens them to craft new narratives and possibilities for themselves. When students have a larger historical palette from which to draw inspiration, it unlocks reservoirs of creativity and innovation. Teaching a balanced history helps to elevate the consciousness of all students. Re-examining curricula is part of the hard work that's necessary to promote equitable learning environments. By expanding history, and by expanding the history curriculum to be deliberately and intentionally inclusive of the history of African descended people, all students would come to an appreciation of the worth of all cultures and cultures that are different from their own. And so the question is, how can teachers design for a learning experience that corrects the underrepresentation of African descended people? One of those ways is that as we are designing syllabi and curricula, we must set inclusive goals and outcomes that increase awareness of different perspectives. And so this is accomplished through the diversification of lessons, lesson units, and topics. The second way would be to incorporate intentional discovery as a learning outcome. Historically, education has happened in a world where information was scarce, and so students had to come to a classroom just to be able to learn. However, in today's world, students live in an environment where information is abundant. And so encouraging them to identify those heroes and heroines who have made great contributions to our world and to bring those stories and narratives to the classroom is an essential way that we can begin to expand and diversify the curriculum. Teaching by encouraging discovery ensures a broader, richer basis for understanding our world, history, and the future. And so the theme of the day is Black excellence. But I will have you to know that excellence is not just a word, but in fact, it is a mindset. The root of excellence is to excel, to do great things, to do hard things. When we look at history, so often we see the accomplishments of great men and women and assume that we don't have that same capacity to be great, to be excellent. But excellence is not reserved for the few. It is in fact the inheritance of the many. Excellence means believing that you have the capacity to make a mark on the world. And so in conclusion, I still have hope. I'm hopeful that we are engaging the task of asking hard questions about the past. And so our courage to face and teach the past will enable us to have a rich and vibrant future.